everybody, and welcome along to Watercolour Wednesday. Excuse me, I need to drink some more of my coffee. Welcome along, 7 of you straight away, lovely to have you along. So in this demo this week we're going to be doing bluebells. Spring is definitely in the air and we want cheering up, so a nice soft bluebell watercolour is what we're going to be doing today. Say hello if you're on and you want to say hello. I'll see your comments come up, that way I can track the comments. No one yet. Remember, when I'm doing Facebook Live, I'm about 10-15 seconds ahead of you. Hello CJ, you're first on. Welcome along, my lovely. And Stephanie, Pam, hello Pam. Stephanie from Macclesfield, Tracy's on. Deb, hi Deb. It breaks the week, doesn't it? Watercolour Wednesday, it's such a good idea. The hump day as they call it. Hopefully this will start tracking in a moment so I don't have to keep popping up and down. I'm like a yo-yo for the first couple of minutes. Who else have we got? Liz and Logan. Oh, your fish arrived. Excellent. Afternoon, Hilary. And Scott's with us. Leslie, Carol. Hi, Chris Rawlins, Lorna and Sue. You're loving Watercolour Wednesday, Paula. Good. I love doing them. Okay. And Joy. Hello, Joy. Keep loose, Joy. Don't get too hung up on this. Loose painting looks easy, doesn't it? But it can be a real pain. So let me, so this is the one we're going to be doing. This is one I did this morning, another version, in my little book. Now I wanted to show you these guys, these little Enviro pads, landscape A5, really good for keeping all your little sketches in one place. I've stocked these for a while and I haven't sold many. I think people don't know that I do them. It's a lovely little pad. The paper's about 200 GSM. So when you use a lot of water, you get a little bit of buckling, but nothing much. And they're £5.50. £5.50. I've got 10 in stock. So if you fancy one of these, pop over to my website and you will just put in the word Enviro. Where are we? Enviro, and you'll find them there. £5.50. Do you do pastel? I absolutely do pastel, Chris. I've got lots of pastel tutorials. I don't do them on Watercolour Wednesday though. They are paid for classes, and I sell pastels as well. I sell this brand of pastels. Box of 72 at I can't remember the price, but a really good price. I've sold out of the 48s. Okay, so here we go, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here's my A4 paper. I've taped it to my board. I don't know if you can see. I've got a bit of masking tape across the middle so I can do 2 little pictures, okay? You really struggle to point along. I'll do it afterwards, Joy. So this is 300 GSM watercolour paper taped to my board. I'll be using my size 12 watercolour brush, a large wash brush for putting the water on, and I've also got my half rigger. Okay, that's all you need. And today I'm using some of my tube paints. I have got, what have I got? I've got ultramarine blue, lemon yellow, I've got some pink and purple, some sap green and raw sienna, and I have, bear with me a second, I've forgotten, phthalo blue, phthalo blue. Okay, but it really doesn't matter what colours you use, just have fun with it. So to start with, I want my paper wet because I want this soft images. So let me put that there and hopefully it will stay in shot. I want this soft muted background, and then I'm going to do a bit more detail and build up layers of watercolour. So first of all, I'm going to take my water on my big wash brush and give a nice coating of water to the surface of the paper. We're going to start today working wet on wet. So we're giving that paper somewhere for the paint to disperse into. You can see I'm going backwards and forwards a few times to make sure it's got a nice sheen to it. You don't want any bizarre puddles, so work it in to the paper a few times. And now the fun can begin. So I'm going to mix up. Bluebells are quite tricky. If you look at people's paintings of bluebells, getting the colour right is quite hard. So I'm going to take my phthalo blue, or you could use Prussian blue. It's just a green based blue, if you see that there. We want our colours nice and watery to start. Wash your brush in between picking up new colours. And to that I'm going to add some of my pink, which is, oh gosh, I can't think today of the name of the colour. I think it's mauve. I think it's called mauve, but it's definitely a pink. Pop that in. So I'm getting this lovely, light, lilac-y colour. Hi Jean, all present. Hello Gay. Still around, but my studio has been dismantled after being... Oh, I thought your studio was fixed. Okay, I need to move quite quickly now because the paper's drying on me. I'm just going to pick a couple of areas. I want colours just floating around in the background. I'm going to add a little bit more pink on its own around the areas. I want this quite watered down. I'm going to add a little bit more water because my paper's drying really quickly today around these shapes. Okay, so I'm just going to take clean water to encourage these little soft gentle marks to fade into the background. Bring some down the bottom as well. Very loose. It's giving us a sense that there's more flowers, more things going on in the background. Keep it wet and keep your colours watery and light and pale. I'm going to drop another little bit of pink in. Quite watered down. My brush is nice and wet as well. Just to get a little bit of activity, a few more colours playing. Can you see that pink just peeking through from the lavender? Okay, now where my paper's dried, I'm just going to re-wet it, the gaps in between, to keep it flowing. But I'm not adding any more colour there. A little bit more of my violet just popping out to the side here. There we go. And I think I'm going to use the two colours that I mix this violet with. So I'm going to take some of my phthalo blue, very watered down, and just drop some of that in as well. So the two colours that I used to mix the lavender, the phthalo and the mauve, I'm just going to drop them in on their own in places as well. Keep it loose, don't think about flowers at this stage, just think about adding some colour into the background of your page. I think that's about where we want to be. Okay. The next step, guys, hi Sandra, hi Angela, is to add some leaves at the bottom. But again, I want these to fade out and to bleed into the background. So I'm going to take my sap green, water it down again so it's nice and light. I'm going to bring some sap green around the bottom, just tapping down and then spreading it out, pulling it through in a few places. Not too much at this stage. Lovely. I'm going to add a little bit of raw sienna or yellow ochre or golden ochre to the green to change that colour, make it a little bit more neutral. Now, the thing I want you to watch... Oh, hi, another Sandra. That's okay, just watch and paint later, absolutely. So as the paper starts to dry, you will see that the marks you make kind of start standing out more. They don't just melt into the background. So I'm kind of waiting for the right moment when I want to add more detail. We've also got our trusty hairdryer. I'm going to give this a little burst with a hairdryer. I still want the paper damp, but a bit drier, and then let's see what happens. I'm going to take my green again. This time I'm going to drop in some of my phthalo blue into that green. Lovely. And a little bit of your yellow ochre or golden ochre or raw umber, just to bring that colour back to more of a neutral. And in again, wet onto damp. So now, as we paint wet onto damp, our marks will melt a little bit. You'll see it bleed out, but it's going to be much more defined than before. Just have fun. Push through that brush, push it right down to the page to get a nice wide base to the leaf, and then lift up, pull through. I'm going to add now, guys, some purple. Just playing around with colours. And when you get purple mixing with green, where it mixes, you get a really dark, rich green. So I'm going to cross over some of these leaves, a bit more paint on my brush would help, with some purple. Push through and drag up and lift off. A bit darker still, I'm going to go stronger, more creamy with that paint. Push through, drag through, taking it over the green in places. And again, this is wet. I am very croaky today. Hi, Wendy. You can see this, I hope, just bleeding out at the edges. I'm going to take a bit of my green and I'm going to go over that purple. I'm going to drag the green through the purple and away. And see what happens when the colours mix. When you take one colour, literally taking it through another colour underneath. I'm going to go for this blue mix. I'm going to bring one through. I'm going to start with the green. In fact, I'm going to pop a little bit of blue, look, at the bottom with the tip of my brush. A little puddle of blue. And then I'm going to take a clean brush and pull that blue out. So I get more of a subtle blue. I'll do that again. And taking my blue, I'm going to pop it along where the tape is. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to pull, and a bit of purple. Let's put a bit of purple next to it. Nice and strong, in a little puddle at the bottom. And I'm going to drag through, I'm going to try and pick up both colours and drag them through. There we go. I also picked up a little bit of yellow. Okay, now I need this to dry again. I'd rather let this dry on its own than hairdry it, okay? If you put the hairdryer on, sometimes, oh thank you Shriti, thank you darling. I just want to let it do its thing naturally rather than hit it with a hairdryer. So I'm going to leave that for a second. Whilst that's drying back, I've had a lot of questions this week about the paints that I sell. I just want to show you so you know when you're looking on my website which ones you're looking at. This is the Artway 14 half pan set. Really good set, great for beginners, good quality paint and colours. 14 colours as you can see there. Comes in a little tin, the same as mine. And then if you want to step up one level, go for the high pigment watercolour set. The difference between them is that the high pigment set, I'm just grabbing one that's open, have a shiny texture to them. They never set hard. I can't get the lid off. I can't get the lid off. There we go. They stay sticky. Can you see that sheen to them? And how dark the colours are. So that's a high pigment set. So those two. And then if you want to step your game up completely, then these are my handmade set. So these are pure pigment, no additives, no fillers, just a bit of clove oil and honey, really artist quality. So those are the 3 sets that I currently sell. So hopefully that's answered some questions. Different price points, different paints. Okay, this is dried now. It's a little bit damp. Perfect. So I'm going to go back to my flowers now with my phthalo blue or Windsor blue. That would do it as well as another colour you could use. And a little bit of pink to make my lavender colour. And to begin with, the first flowers I'm going to put down, I want quite weak. I want them to disappear into the background, a bit more pink. There we go. And we're just going to come up onto the tip of our brush and we're going to pop in. I've not put any stems in yet for my flowers. Onto the tip of the brush, create that little bell shape and then move on. Think how your bluebells hang off of the stem. So just like doing little birds. You know when you're doing those very simple birds flying through the sky? That's what we're doing to begin with. Just little upside down V shapes, little bumps. Now I'm going to go back into my pink and pop a little bit of pink over the top in that gap of my little bluebell. Just a tiny bit of pink. And it will work wet on wet and mix in with the blue that you've put down already. Okay, let's do another couple coming down. I'm going to make this one slightly bigger because it's coming towards us. My mixture's very weak. Not too strong. Lots of water and drop in a bit of pink in. Let's make that one a little bit darker. Right on the tip of your brush. Touch of blue. I just like some variety in the colours of my bluebells. Okay. Whilst they're drying, I'm going to do some more, a bit bigger, the central ones that we're going to have. And I want my colour a bit darker. Because I want it darker, I'm going to add more paint to my water mix. My fish has disappeared in the blue. Oh no! Add some pink to your blue or red to your blue to make a purple. Just work with the colours you have. A bit more blue. There we go. I'm going to have some coming up here, as I say, slightly bigger. Not very much paint on my brush. Bring in that bell shape and thinking about where you're going to put your stem and how these little flowers are going to hang off of that stem. Bring your little bell shape, the top of the bell, leaving an opening like a little bird. I'm going to have one down here. Now I'm going to mix that colour up by going in with just a wet brush and a little bit of pink in the middle. Tap it in, touch the blue as you tap that pink down and fill up that void. Okay, now I'm just going to go back into all of them and create that little bell shape. Pull it out, fan your paint out at the bottom to create that bell shape we're all familiar with. Just a couple of little ruffles with the tip of your brush. Fan it out at the bottom. There we go. And with these ones, because the colour's stronger, I don't need to pick up any more paint. I'm just going to use what's there, tap into it with the tip of the brush and pull out. Just go into the bottom of your wet paint and fan it out. Create your little frilly bell shapes. Pull out to the side, pull some forward and out the other side. Fabulous. And this one, pull out to the side and just tap in the middle to get your shape. Now these look very pretty, but they're too strong for what I want. So I want you to be brave. A lovely soft background. Thank you, Martina. Take a bit of tissue. Whilst these are still wet, I'm going to dab down very quickly into the flowers and pick up a bit of that colour. Try and get your tissue small. In some of them I only want to touch into half. Just fading some of them back. Some of them I've just tapped into part of the flower and others I've tapped in completely. Okay, I want a couple more, a bit lighter this time, using more water in my paint, spreading it thinner so I get some background bluebells that are not as strong as the first ones. Paint your V shape and then flick round and create the gentle bell at the bottom. I'm doing quite a lot on here on this one so you can see the different strength in colour. Nicely faded out ones. I want some that are a little more pink, so I'm dropping a bit more pink in my mix. Let's bring some the other side for balance. Just start with my V shape, my upside down V shape. Place them on. This time I'm just going to spread out that middle bit of colour, fill in the void with my brush, just a dry brush, and pull the paint together and flick underneath to create your frilly little bells. Okay, so that's looking good so far. A nice little thing to do for a card for somebody. Now I'm going to take some strong colour. I'm going to take my pink, neat, a little bit of water on my brush, straight into the pink. I'm just going to drop, whilst these are still wet, I'm going to pick a couple of them and just drop some stronger pink over the top. On one side. Okay, just add in some variety. So we've lifted some colour out and now we're dropping a little bit of colour back in, teasing that paint. I'm just going to zoom the camera in, guys, a bit closer for you. Bear with me 1 second whilst I do that. There we go. So you can see a bit closer up what I'm doing, because what I'm going to do next is just clean my brush. Goodness, I've zoomed in and now I've lost you all. There we go. Take just a damp brush whilst the paint's still wet. I'm going to lift, touch down, lift off some of the colour to create some subtle highlights in my little flowers. Okay, so the background's nice and loose, but there is some work in creating your flowers. That's enough bluebells, I think. Okay, I'm going to go back now to, you can use your normal brush, or if you've got my set of brushes, these ones, £6.90 I think, or £7 for 7, so £1 a brush. You get this one, which is a half rigger. And a half rigger, for those of you that have been watching me use them, allow you to get a nice thin line. So I'm just going to mix up the green that I want. So I'm going to take my sap green, and into my sap green I'm going to add a little bit of purple. Oops, too much purple. Let's try that again. A bit more sap green to balance it out. I want a lovely dark green. Look at that. Beautiful. It's a half and half mixture. So half water, half paint, like a milky consistency. I'm going to lay this brush in, pick up some of that lovely paint, and I'm going to come behind my bluebell, bring a little curly stem to meet the flower head, and then just tap into the wet paint some of that green so it bleeds into the flowers. And then I'm just going to come round on the very tip of my rigger brush and create my stem. Join them up, bring some more round. Doesn't matter if you don't do it in one line. Your line can be broken. The viewer will fill in the gaps. And a few more little leaves just flicking out from the stem. So we've done our loose work behind, and now we're just putting some detail over the top. And these ones in the middle, I'm going to pick my furthest flower, pop that green into the blue, and come round and down the middle. Down we come. See what a lovely line you can get, and then it's just a case of joining the others to your stem. There we go. I'm going to go again over that line. I want my stem a little bit fatter. Down we go. And again, just to make it nice and interesting, go to the stem and just flick out some little tiny leaves coming off the stem. Fabulous. Yay! It's all working today. And no one's moaning that there's clicking going on. Okay, the other ones over this side, don't forget them. So pop your green on the flower first. So that's the bit where the leaves are joining the petals of the flower. And then just flick round. Nice delicate stem on these background ones, as they're further back. So the stem's going to be more fragile. Love it. And again, pick up your green. Remember, to make your really dark green, add some purple. If you haven't got purple, mix your red and blue first. Make your purple and add it to your green. Lovely. Okay, I haven't used any yellow yet, so I'm just going to come back in to the leaves at the bottom, pick up a bit of my lemon yellow, and just take it over the top. This paint's dry now. Just add in some accents of yellow. And because watercolours are beautifully transparent, you'll see the other colours through that yellow. That's so pretty. I love this. Could do these all day. I'm taking a bit more purple, stronger, and I'm adding some accents or some depth to this little tiny flower picture. So I've taken my purple, neat, quite strong, and my purple green, I'm going to come in and over the top, start at the bottom, pull up and create some stronger leaves at the front. Isn't it pretty? I'm going to do some with the blue, but not too many. It's easy to get carried away with this. One more. Bit more. Pulling up. There we go. So these colours, and who sees purple leaves? I don't know, only me. So these ones, because we're now working wet on to dry, aren't going to disappear unless we want them to. If you put a line down that you don't like, just bring some water alongside and you can soften that colour. You can lift some colour out if it's too strong, just with a damp brush. There we go. I'm going to leave that alone. I say that one's done. And we're going to do another one because that was far too quick. And the thing is about this is these bluebells here where I went stronger and creamier with the paint stand out. We've got some illusions of movement in the background with our very faint colours dropped into the water. And then we've got some half and half bluebells where we've painted them more weak, and we also, remember, tap down to lift some of them out. And then I've got the joy at the end of removing the tape from the bottom to reveal that beautiful crisp line underneath. So I've got two bluebells now. This one I'd say that I did earlier is a little looser, but very similar. Okay, what shall we do for the next one? I've got my pink out, so we'll do something similar, slightly different. I'm going to move my pad up. Let's make the most of our hour, otherwise I've not been fair to you. I've shortchanged you. So here we go again. On the bottom one, water, nice big brush. You can get this brush from my website as well. Please support small business rather than the giants of Amazon. And you'll find my prices compete with Amazon anyway. There we go. So backwards and forwards, push that water into the page. Give us a nice base. We're going to go pinks. I'm just going to clean this out. Let's clean this out. And guys, I encourage you to use whatever colours you want. Maybe go yellows. Maybe have some illusion of daffodils. I want to use my pink or mauve. Water it down. And in. Now, I want to leave an area that looks like sky behind, so I'm not going to come too high up with my pink. Just drop in some little flowers. I don't know what these flowers are. These are Eunice flowers. Okay, Eunice flowers. Drop in some pink, nice and weak to start. The reason we go weak to start is so that when we bring some stronger paint over the top, these will fade into the background. Oh no, Joanne, I absolutely love removing the tape. Oh, thank you, Paul. Lovely. Okay, green again. My sap green. I'm just going to use this puddle that I created earlier. I'm not fussed. We're just having fun here. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow for some brightness, some citrusiness. And I want the illusion, right? I'm going to do something strange here. I'm going to paint my green along the bottom in a straight line. You think I've lost the plot, I'm sure. Let me move that up to the camera. There we go. I've got too much on my desk. Now I'm going to pick up some more green and I'm going to flick up. Just go into that green and pull it up, let it go into the pink. Flick up from that base. Very soft again. Now I'm going to pop a few bits of green, nice and light, in between on the white paper. Try not to mix it too much with the pinks. Can you see I've deliberately left some white paper between these flowers? So it gives us some air, it's not completely cluttered. Okay, again, it's the waiting game now. Waiting for it to just start drying back. Whilst that's happening, I'm going to mix my pink again. I'm going to take it creamier, more paint to water to get a stronger colour. I'm going to just choose some spots, very top of my brush, over the pink. I'm not sure what these flowers are, as I say, but watch that paint spread out in the dampness of your page. Just little dots here and there. I don't know, these could be hyacinths perhaps? What do you think? Hyacinths? They could be. I love hyacinths. I love the smell of hyacinths. They remind me of my mum. She always had some in springtime in the house. So stronger pink over the top. Just let it bleed and play in the colour underneath. I have hyacinths on my mind now, and because of that I'm going to change this up a bit because we can. I'm going to take some of my purple. Whoa, look at that purple. Into the pink. Bit more pink. Balance it out. I've gone too strong purple. There we go. And mix it up. So take some of your strong purple, if you have some, and I'm going to drop that in one side of these pretend flowers. I just love the way watercolour bleeds. You can try and control it, and the best way to control it is by how wet your brush is and how watery your paint is and how wet the paper is. You need to take all of those factors into account when you're putting your paint down. Let's take some down further. Pop some over the green. Now I can see as I'm tapping on that the paint is drying because my little marks that I'm making are staying where I put them. They're bleeding ever so slightly, so I'm going to keep going. Add in a bit stronger colour as I go. Watching the paper, seeing what's happening, and choosing your moment. Okay, beautiful. I hope to see later today you all share with me the pictures that you've created today using these wet in wet techniques to start with, and then letting your paper dry and watching what happens and reacting to what's going on the paper. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Okay, now my green is definitely drying off. I'm going to take my green, and I love the look of the purple in the green. It just makes a beautiful colour. I'm going to come up over my grass with a stronger green with my purple in and create another layer of interest of leaves. A bit more yellow. I just picked up a bit of yellow then. So put your darker green in to create your depth. Start at that bottom, pull up. The paper's still slightly damp, so they will bleed still. When you want a fatter leaf, just push through your brush and make your mark bigger at the bottom, come up. And then for interest, I'm going to go into my lemon yellow and I'm going to drag that over the green. Pick a spot, put your yellow down and take it over the green. Beautiful. As I say, this is still wet, it's damp. It's not wet, it's just damp. Now for some fun. I didn't splatter my bluebells, but I'm definitely going to splatter this one. So I'm just going to load up my brush. The background's still slightly damp. I'm going to hold it parallel to my flowers. I'm just going to tap lightly some tiny little dots of pink. Come up over the white and some over the leaves. Just gentle. You know what, guys? I'm being adventurous today, adventurous Eunice. I'm going to go into my phthalo blue or your Prussian blue. Nice puddle. Load up that brush. Hold it parallel and give it a little tap. I'm going to do some on my bluebells as well. Just a few little dots. Beautiful. Now you can see I've not attempted at the moment to join my flowers up. I quite like it as it is, but if you don't like that, then just take your purple green mix. Red and green will also work for you, particularly if you use a crimson. Come into the flower head, touch that green in whilst the pink is wet, so it bleeds into the pink. Now I'm not using my rigger brush, I'm just going to use my number 12 brush on the tip and pull down a few stems and a few stronger leaves coming off. This is a fictional flower, remember, so don't message me later saying, what were those flowers? Because they're Eunice flowers, okay. Nice creamy paint, just having fun with another layer of green, giving it some strength. And like I did with the other one, I'm going to pop a few purples. Watch what happens here. Just take some purple over the green to get that strong colour in amongst the leaves. Fabulous. And then all you have to do is let it dry and send it to someone you love. Take the tape off. There we go. Two very gentle, half loose, half detailed. So you take your loose painting and, oh, a bee, yes. Oh, bee orchids. But you could put a little bee in. You could. I haven't got the right colours. Let me get my tin. Let me get my tin. Or a butterfly. I was going to finish there. I'm not going to now. I'm going to pop a little bee. A little bit of yellow. You're probably not going to see this on the screen. Tiny little bee buzzing around. There we go, our little bee just coming into land. So guys, before I let you go, just a reminder, these pads, I've had them ages, £5.50, £5.50. Perfect for these little Watercolour Wednesdays. You could put all your Watercolour Wednesday paintings in them and then flick through. What a joy. £5.50. The paints and brushes you know, and the mixing palette are all there. And tomorrow or Friday, just an early warning, I have some old mugs with my characters on, bone china mugs. These are my current ones that I sell, okay? Quite large round. This one is the old stock. You can see the handles are slightly different shape, and I don't stock these anymore, but I was clearing out my home studio and I found them in a box. So tomorrow or Friday, I'll probably go live with a little sale on the mugs that I've got left at a really good price, okay? Bone china, hand printed. So that will be coming up in the next couple of days. Don't miss out on those. And also, for those of you that want to, whoops, that's a house I've just been painting. The classes that are coming up, last week we did the Blue Macaw, which was such fun. You can still buy these classes if you missed them from my on-demand page, okay? So just check them out there. This week, tomorrow, we have our little tree frog in watercolours. Gorgeous little tree frog. Still places available, so get yourself over and book on there and see me in my Zoom class. And what else have we got coming up? We've got a monkey. He's coming up the week after next, always on a Thursday. And we've got, if you like this, you'll love this. We've got our silver birch trees in spring. So that one's coming up on the 8th for the 4th. And then our mixed media, watercolour and coloured pencils for the seahorse. So keep your eye on my Facebook page. Keep your eye on my website for something that tickles your fancy. And thank you so much for joining me again today. I will look forward to deciding. We're not going to do flowers next week. We've done 2 weeks of flowers, so I'll come up with something else. And I'll meet you all again, same time, same place next week. Take care, my lovely people, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for today. Your masking tape did tear the paper. Use the hairdryer, Jocelyn. Thanks, Sandra. Lovely, lovely day. Enjoy the sunshine. I'll see you next week. Take care, guys. Bye for now. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.